The Broncos are fighting an uphill battle with their backup QB in the AFC Championship game, and that battle will be made even tougher because they're playing the Pats. This is Locked On Patriots.
You are Locked On Patriots, your daily New England Patriots podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's happening? I am your host, Nick Cattles, born and raised in New England, been covering the Pats for the past 16 years. I'm also the co-host of the Greg Bedard Patriots podcast with, you guessed it, Nick Cattles, and a sports radio veteran. Welcome to Locked On Patriots, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, now the #1 sports podcast network, your team every day. On today's show, in the third segment, we'll talk about the non-quarterback injuries that cannot be overlooked and could have a major impact on Sunday's game. In the second segment, it's time to eviscerate this ridiculous path conversation. But first, intel matters, and the Pats have it. You know, anything can happen in sports. I don't ever write off any team under any circumstance. You know, how many people thought that the Indiana Pacers would get absolutely smoked the moment Tyrese Halliburton went down in the NBA Finals? But the Pacers, they kept fighting. They made it a game. Yes, the Thunder won, but you get the point. Anything can happen in sports. KG told us that a long time ago. With that said, the Patriots are the worst case scenario for the Denver Broncos on Sunday, with their starting quarterback being by the name of Jarrett Stidham. Now, this isn't because I'm hosting Locked On Patriots. This isn't some homer view. The reason why this is the worst case scenario for the Broncos is the fact that Josh McDaniels eliminates the element of surprise. When you think about a backup quarterback, someone who hasn't played in years, somebody who you don't have recent film on, you don't have a great grasp of what they do. That's what makes it difficult, the element of surprise. You don't know. And yeah, we don't truly know what Sean Payton is going to do with Jarrett Stidham at quarterback on Sunday. But the fact is, Josh McDaniels knows everything you need to know about Jarrett Stidham. Let's not forget, Stidham was drafted by the Patriots. He was drafted and developed by the Patriots. From 2019 to 2021, he was a New England Patriot. And who was there with him? Josh McDaniels, who was working intricately day in and day out with the quarterbacks, working with the offense, trying to make sure the quarterbacks knew everything they needed to know. That would be Josh McDaniels. So Josh McDaniels was there at the very beginning of Stidham's NFL career. McDaniels was with Stidham for 3 full seasons in New England. And then not only that, Stidham goes to Vegas in 2022. Who went to Vegas as the head coach in 2022? Yes, that would be McDaniels. So McDaniels worked with Stidham for 3 full years. Then McDaniels goes to Vegas. Stidham goes to Vegas with McDaniels. Not a coincidence. And so when Josh McDaniels is sitting in meeting rooms this week, don't you have to believe that he sits there and he lets the Patriots coaching staff truly understand and appreciate what Jarrett Stidham is good at? Don't you think McDaniels is sitting there telling Patriots coaches, these are the strengths of Stidham? This is what Sean Payton is probably going to try to do with Stidham as his quarterback on Sunday. These are the types of scenarios that a head coach and an offensive play caller would like to see play out with Stidham as their quarterback. And on the other side of it, don't you just have to believe that Josh McDaniels is sitting in his office writing down all sorts of notes to share with defensive coaches about what the weaknesses are of Stidham, knowing what makes him uncomfortable, knowing what rattles him, knowing what defensive coverages might confuse him? This is inside intel. And when you talk about the postseason, you talk about win or go home, you talk about a shot to go to the Super Bowl, every little morsel of inside intel, inside information that you can gather from your coaching staff is worth its weight in gold. And so, yes, this is the worst case scenario for the Broncos in their backup quarterback. It doesn't mean the Broncos will lose the game. It just means they're fighting another part of this. They're not just dealing with having to start their backup quarterback. They're having to start their backup quarterback against a team who drafted said quarterback, and that team's offensive coordinator worked with Stidham the first 4 years of his NFL career. But this goes beyond Josh McDaniels, because Mike Vrabel told the media this week that the Patriots actually entertained signing Jarrett Stidham as their backup quarterback. And Mike Vrabel said the Pats did all sorts of work on Stidham this offseason, which means what? It means the coaching staff did work on Stidham. Not only Josh McDaniels, but others. I'm sure Ashton Grant gave Stidham a look. I'm sure that, Todd Downing and Thomas Brown gave their opinions. Not only are we talking about the coaching staff, we're also talking about the scouts. I'm sure the scouts had all of the background on Stidham in case the Patriots forgot. I mean, we're talking about some deep links within this organization. The front office doing work on Jarrett Stidham. Just think about the 2025 free agency period. We discussed this on yesterday's podcast. We talked about how the free agency period was so good for the Patriots. It allowed them to make this run this year. And they hit on so many free agents. Doesn't that make you believe that their process, it's rather obvious? Captain Obvious just walked into the room. Isn't it obvious that the team's process going through free agency was not just good, but really good and thorough? And Jarrett Stidham was a part of that process. They have as much information on this quarterback as any quarterback as they could possibly face, other than their own guy, Drake Maye. And if you're wondering how the Patriots feel about Jarrett Stidham, I would just say this. Josh McDaniels let Stidham walk after 2022. Stidham went to the Broncos. I think there's a reason that Josh McDaniels let that happen. I would have to imagine that Stidham would have liked to stay with McDaniels, stay in the same offense as McDaniels, but there's a reason. There's a reason why. And it's also obvious that, yes, the Patriots entertained signing Stidham in the offseason, but what did they end up doing? They ended up signing Joshua Dobbs, which would tell me, unless Stidham gave the Patriots the stiff arm, which might have been the case. But again, you'd have to think that Stidham would not mind working with McDaniels again in the offense that he understands and knows and worked for years within. And the Pats signed Joshua Dobbs. If that was a Pats decision and not a Stidham decision, that tells us the Patriots believe that Joshua Dobbs is a better quarterback than Jarrett Stidham. But this intel will have an impact. Again, it doesn't guarantee the Patriots getting a W on Sunday, but this kind of inside information has to make Zach Core, defensive play caller for the Pats, feel pretty comfortable going into this matchup. All right, it's time for me to destroy a silly narrative that seemingly only exists to annoy most of us. That's next. This is Locked On Patriots, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Kicking off the year feeling good is the goal, right? And honestly, hydration is the easiest win. When I stay on top of it, my energy, focus, and mood all level up. But let's be real. Plain water doesn't always cut it, especially when you're grinding through long days, hitting the gym, or just trying to stay consistent with your health goals. That's where Drip Drop comes in. Doctor-developed, proven fast hydration that helps your body and mind work better. Think clearer focus, better energy, elevated mood, even that fresh skin glow. Drip Drop tastes amazing. There are 16 original flavors and 8 zero sugar options to choose from. They have flexible subscription options, so you're never stuck without it, whether you're hitting the gym, juggling work, or just staying consistent with your goals. Right now, Drip Drop is offering podcast listeners 20% off your first order. Go to dripdrop.com and use promo code LOCKEDONNFL. That's dripdrop.com, promo code LOCKEDONNFL for 20% off. Stock up now at dripdrop.com and use promo code LOCKEDONNFL. What if sports were traded like markets? Now you can put your sports IQ to work in real time with Robinhood Prediction Markets. It's not you against the house. It's you participating in a live market. You can buy or sell your positions live all game long. Use your sports knowledge in the moments that matter. Robinhood Prediction Markets changes the game. It's people moving the action. So when momentum shifts, you can move with it. I always knew the game, but never had a dynamic way to apply that knowledge. Now, I can actually take part live in a market powered by people. You're no longer just a spectator. Play by play, you decide. Trade every play with Robinhood. Now available across the U.S., download the Robinhood app now to begin. Futures and cleared swaps trading involves significant risk and is not appropriate for everyone. Event contracts are offered by Robinhood Derivatives, LLC, a registered futures commission merchant and swap firm. So if you love Locked On Patriots, maybe you're tired of some of the interruptions. Well, if so, check out the Everydayer Club. No interruptions, members-only Discord access, and more, all for just $5 a month or $50 for the entire year. Go to lockedonpatriots.supercast.com or check the link in the show notes to learn more. Also, don't forget, we're trying to get to 8,500 subs. That's the next goal. I want to try to get there by Sunday's AFC Championship game. Let's do it together. Don't forget to click that thumbs up. Give us a like. Don't forget to throw your comments in as well. I want your thoughts on the inside intel of Josh McDaniels regarding Jarrett Stidham. And don't forget to subscribe. This path talk, oh my God, this path talk is 100% ridiculous. And more importantly, the path talk is disingenuous. Now, what is the path talk? It's low-hanging sports talk fruit. And I can tell you that. I've worked in sports talk radio for a long time. And I have listened to other hosts talk about the path. I have talked about the path towards a championship. I talked about the path of the Celtics title win going back a couple of years ago when I was working for 98.5. So I understand the path talk, but I never put too much stock into it. And I find that some people are just ridiculous and disingenuous with the way that they deliver the talk of, oh, this path is so easy. Here's why. Let me eviscerate this silly, low-hanging fruit of a conversation. Number one, do you think that anyone genuinely cares about a team's path to a championship? Do you think anybody that talks about this stuff, whether it be on TV, on the radio, do you believe that they actually genuinely care? See, when I was talking about the Celtics path, it was to do what I'm going to do right now, which is just to smash the idea of the path was quote unquote too easy. Does anyone genuinely care about the path? Are you staying up at night worrying about the path? Do you think sports media is staying up at night worried about each team's path to a possible championship? Do you think that they're sitting down after dinner at their dining room tables, talking to their families and ranking the path of each team? Like, this is not a conversation that is a reality. It's just not. It's not. It's just not. Is anyone keeping track? Can anybody tell me the path of the champion 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 20 years ago? Maybe if you're a fan of that team, maybe if you have covered that team. But does anybody else care? Can I sit there and tell you about the championship path of teams that had nothing to do with New England in past years? Of course not. Of course not. I can't even tell you the path of the OKC championship last year, and it just happened last year in the NBA, and I watched the NBA. Is anybody keeping track of this? Do we have this master list of easiest paths in sports history? Like, what are we doing? Like, is anyone legitimately comparing the path of one team one year to the path of what happened last year, 5 years ago, 10 years ago? And if you are doing that, you probably just need to step away from the vehicle for a few minutes. I fundamentally don't understand this. And by the way, I've said this for a long time. Give me the easiest path. Give me the easiest path possible. A title is a title. The Patriots still had to go 14-3 in the regular season. They still had to win 2 playoff games to get to the AFC Championship game to play a backup quarterback, as many people are now screaming from the mountaintops, right? If they beat Denver on Sunday, guess what? They go to the Super Bowl, and they will play the team that got through the NFC gauntlet. A title is a title. Does anybody care about the path a couple of years ago for the Celtics? Does anybody care about any prior path the Patriots took to any of their Super Bowl wins or appearances? Does anybody care about that? And if you do, why? Do you get extra points for a tougher path? Will the Patriots walk in to Sunday with less points? Will they walk in with negative points because they had a quote-unquote easier path? If you get to the Super Bowl and you had a tough path, do you walk in with 6 points on the scoreboard? Like you don't get extra points for the path that you took to get to a championship game or a championship series. It's all nonsense. You play who you play, you beat who you beat, and if you survive in advance, then you survive in advance. That's how it happens. I'm not waking up if the Patriots win the Super Bowl. I'm not waking up if it's a tougher path to that Super Bowl victory. I'm not waking up on a Monday morning and finding a booby prize in my mailbox. Did you get your booby prize? like One more thing about the path. The path is a moving target. Things evolve. Teams evolve. Teams do things better later in the season than they did earlier in the season. Teams do things worse later in the season than they did earlier in the season. Just because you beat a team in the first month of the season doesn't mean you could beat that same team in the last month of the season, and you can flip that around as well. Just because you lost to them in the first month of the season doesn't mean that you're going to lose to them in the final month of the season. We are all sports fans. We know how this works. Matchups exist. They exist for a reason. And there's just always context ignored. And you know, if you have listened to any of the stuff that I've done, watched anything that I've done, and you're doing it right now, I hope that you understand and appreciate the fact that I appreciate context and nuance. And some people don't, and that's fine. They're going to do what they're going to do. Different flavors of ice cream. But Evan Lazar had a note that I found very telling this week on the teams the Patriots have faced during this playoff season and the challenges of those teams. Evan Lazar wrote, the Pats offense has not faced an easy schedule. The Texans second, Chargers sixth, and Broncos eighth all have top 8 defenses by EPA, with some pundits saying the Houston defense New England's young offense just faced is the best in football. And then Evan Lazar notes, if the advanced metrics aren't your thing, Drake Maye will be the first quarterback in a decade to face 3 top 5 defenses in total yards in each of his 3 playoff games in a season. Also, let me add this. You have an offense that's got a bunch of new faces. You've got a second-year quarterback in his first year with this offensive coordinator, with this specific offensive scheme. You have a rookie left side of your offensive line, which, by the way, your rookie left tackle has had his tuchus served to him the last couple weeks. But you're dealing with a rookie left side of the offensive line. And if the Patriots win on Sunday in Denver, if they win this game, they could end up facing another top defense in Seattle. One last note. You can't tell me You cannot fix your lips and tell me, you just can't, that the Chargers are going to be a hard test. Or tell me last weekend that the Texans are going to beat the Patriots because of this all-world defense. You can't tell me those types of things and then turn around and tell me it's been an easy path. You can't have it both ways. So can we just stop? Stop with the noise. Stop with the ridiculousness. Stop with being disingenuous. Throw away the low-hanging sports talk fruit and have legitimate, honest, good, meaningful conversations. Just my 2 cents. A handful of injuries could impact this game on Sunday significantly. And I'm not even talking about Bo Nix. That's coming up. This is Locked On Patriots, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. The championship round is here, and FanDuel is officially in playoff mode. Every game during the NFL playoffs, FanDuel is giving customers even more ways to get in on the action. Because right now, every NFL playoff game day, FanDuel users get a profit boost pack waiting for them inside the app. Each game day, you'll see a pack loaded with multiple profit boosts you can apply to the bets you like most. Open your profit boost pack first thing on game day and see what boosts you want to apply. The boosts give you more juice on the bets you already like instead of forcing you to bet something new. Every play feels bigger, and the boosts make your bets feel that way too. You make your picks, then apply your profit boosts to go after even bigger payouts, while the playoffs, well, they keep rolling. So visit FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Again, that's FanDuel, and grab your profit boost pack every NFL playoff game day. If you've ever hired someone who looked good on paper but wasn't the right fit, you know how important that is. When you want candidates who truly match what you're looking for, trust Indeed sponsored jobs. Hiring, Indeed is all you need. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other sites. Indeed sponsored jobs put your post at the top of the page and help you reach the right candidates faster. If I needed to hire someone for this show, I'd go straight to Indeed and be very specific about what I need. Real experience, not just a resume buzzword. Spend more time interviewing candidates who check all your boxes with less stress, less time, and more results using Indeed sponsored jobs. Listeners of this show get a $75 sponsored job credit to help give your job the premium placement it deserves at Indeed.com/LockedOnNFL. Just go to Indeed.com/LockedOnNFL right now and support the show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring, do it the right way with Indeed. Help a brother out. Help a podcast out. Help a community out, my friends. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. All right, so this time of year, obviously, injuries are just devastating. We know that Bo Nix is done. He is not going to play on Sunday. He is not going to play in a Super Bowl if the Broncos beat the Patriots on Sunday. He's out. He's done. But I don't want to overlook some of these other injuries that could absolutely impact this game on Sunday and maybe even impact it significantly. Let's start with the Patriots. Let's start in our own backyard. Carlton Davis was concussed on Sunday, and he was ruled out, which is a big deal. Once you are ruled out with a head injury, it means that you are officially in the concussion protocol. So one can only imagine, surmise, that Carlton Davis, we just went through this with Christian Gonzalez, one has to believe that Carlton Davis is in the concussion protocol. And if I have not said it enough, I'll say it one more time. We have no idea how a guy is going to react to a concussion. We don't know how their brain is going to react to a concussion. And Carlton Davis, I had said on yesterday's podcast, he was feast or famine against the Texans. He had the 2 interceptions. He also had 3 penalties, got beat in coverage a couple of times. But he is going to impact the Patriots' ability to play man coverage. He will directly impact the Patriots' ability to be as multiple as they've been defensively. in the first 2 playoff games. You take Carlton Davis out of the mix, that impacts the Patriots defense. And now we got to keep our fingers crossed that Charles Woods can do the job. So we have to keep an eye on Carlton Davis, the concussion protocol, and, how he goes through this week if he starts to take steps forward into playing. The red non-contact jersey, does he get out of the non-contact jersey at some point later in the week? He's got to go through all those phases. So that is a significant injury we've got to keep an eye on. Another one is Mack Hollins. Now, we know Mack Hollins, abdominal injury. We don't really know how severe it was. We've seen Mack Hollins travel with the team since he had the injury. We've seen Mack Hollins on the sidelines. I don't want to say all out celebrating, but being celebratory. Does that tell us he can play? Of course not. It's a physical, violent game. But Mack Hollins is. I want to make sure everybody knows this. Mack Hollins is absolutely 100% eligible to play on Sunday if he's healthy enough. If he's deemed healthy enough, he can play. It's not like in the regular season when you go on the IR and you've got to miss 4 games. Remember, when we saw the Milton Williams thing happen and the Will Campbell injury happen, we talked about the IR list. In the regular season, you miss 4 games. It's not 4 weeks, 4 games. It's different when you get to the postseason. So Mack Hollins is eligible to come off the IR, and that could have a major impact on the Patriots offense. We know that Mack Hollins is a target over the middle. We know that Drake Maye is very comfortable throwing to Mack Hollins because of his catch radius. He has shown tremendous hands this year, making several tough catches. He's made some big plays on late downs. And in the run game, he could be a difference maker. So if Hollins returns, that would help you on Sunday. Now let's look at Denver's side. J.K. Dobbins has had a foot problem. He was placed on IR. Well, the Broncos have opened up his practice window, which means he could be back on Sunday. J.K. Dobbins leads the Broncos in rushing yards, carries, and runs of 10 or more yards with 21 of those. So J.K. Dobbins will help the Broncos offense and run game if he is back out there. There's no doubt about that. Now, the tough news for the Broncos, aside from the Bo Nix injury, wide receiver position. Patrick Bryant. He had his second concussion in less than a month against the Buffalo Bills. Again, you don't know how anybody's going to react necessarily to a concussion from one concussion to another concussion, but the fact he's had 2 concussions in less than a month, I would find it hard to believe that Patrick Bryant would be out there on Sunday. Troy Franklin, another Broncos wide receiver, he's hurting. He hurt his hamstring against the Bills last weekend, and he was ruled out in like the second quarter. And we all know hamstrings injuries are very tough to deal with. So the Broncos could get J.K. Dobbins back, but they might be without Patrick Bryant and Troy Franklin. And finally, the Broncos could get center Luke Wattenberg back from IR. So Wattenberg is part of that offensive line, and we're going to talk a lot about this offensive line over the next couple of days because it is a fantastic offensive line in Denver. If Wattenberg comes back, that would help that O-line. We'll have a better idea about all of these injuries when we get closer to the game and as we get later in the week. Carlton Davis in the protocol, Patrick Bryant in the protocol, Mack Hollins, is he practicing? J.K. Dobbins, Troy Franklin, are those guys practicing? Luke Wattenberg, is he practicing? So those are some major injuries that we all want to pay attention to heading into the AFC Championship game. All right. That wraps up this edition of Locked On Patriots. Thank you for making us your first listen. Thank you for being an everydayer. Reach out to me if you would on Twitter at Nick C Radio. And don't forget to throw a comment in on the YouTube channel. Don't forget to hit that like button, and don't forget to subscribe. And if you're looking for a gift for someone, make it easy. Check out the Everydayer Club. Add free episodes of this show exclusive Discord server access, and more. Subscriptions can be gifted through lockedonpatriots.supercast.com. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow for the crossover.